righty then.
Welcome back to Banging the Can, the Houston sports show that does not apologize for championship rings and tings, presented by Bolen Media. I am Ross Bolen, back from the dead to check in on our Houston Astros through 65 games this season. The Astros currently sit atop the AL West with a 36-29 record, a 3-game lead over the Seattle Mariners, and the third best record in the American League behind the Detroit Tigers and the New York Yankees. Not too shabby for a team that traded Kyle Tucker and watched Alex Bregman walk away in their most recent offseason. Also of note, the Astros have only played 15 games against teams who currently have a winning percentage below 500. The fewest such games in Major League Baseball. Team batting average is .250, which is just aight. On-base percentage is .316, which is just aight. .261 in terms of runs so far puts them at 22nd out of 30 teams. 65 home runs puts them at 20th. So offensive production remains relatively meh, but pitching remains the bright spot. 3.52 team ERA, 8th in Major League Baseball. .219 batting average against is the best in baseball. Number 1, walks plus hits per inning pitched, 1.16 for the second best in baseball. Number 2, also believe we are an MLB leading 623 strikeouts from our pitching staff, which is nice. So all things considered, it has been a solid season so far. We knew it would be a weird one coming in. Frankly, that's why it took me so long to get back here and check in. Because losing Breggy and King Tuck and having Jose Altuve play left field, which I'll have more to say about in a minute, seeing new faces at third base, first base, second base, right field, left field, and on the mound. It's been a very, very different team to watch this season. There's still improvements to be made, no doubt, but so far, so good. Today's show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Go yard all baseball season long with Underdog's Pick'em game. Underdog is a leading place to make all your sports picks, and you can play now in your state. Their app has over 100,000 5-star reviews and millions of players. To play, all you have to do is download the Underdog app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. You can choose from things like home runs, strikeouts, total bases, and so much more. If you get your picks correct, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. So you could turn $1 into $1,000 using your baseball knowledge. Never underestimate the heart of a champion. The Astros open their series against the Chicago White Sox tonight, so what I like to do is go into the Underdog app, click the MLB button, scroll over to tonight's game, Astros versus White Sox, and make plays on our specific game since I'm going to be watching it. Makes it more fun. So let's see. Tonight I am liking Lance McCullers Jr. higher than 6.5 strikeouts. He has had 7 and 12 in his last 2 starts. Jeremy Pena higher than 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. Feels like a no-brainer. Peña has been raking. Jose Altuve, higher than 1.5 total bases. And White Sox pitcher Shane Smith to have higher than 4.5 strikeouts because he hasn't had less than 5 Ks in his last 6 starts. And those are my 4 plays for tonight's game. I'm locking in that entry. $20 play for a chance at $232.80. Boom. Follow me, fade me. Those are my plays. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code BTC to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code BTC. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Let's talk some new additions, the new faces that we see on this Astros team for this 2025 season. Isaac Paredes, third base, new third baseman, replaced Alex Bregman. Probably had the most pressure on him out of any new face on our team, frankly, considering what he was replacing. And he is leading the team in home runs with 14, leading the team with 38 RBIs, and has been a huge, huge win so far for Dana Brown and us as Astros fans. Isaac Paredes. Good shit. Good shit. Christian Walker at first base. 8 home runs, 29 RBIs, team leading 72 strikeouts, with the next closest person being Cam Smith with 55. So that's a lot. That's a lot of strikeouts there, Christian. I'll call it a win so far, but obviously I think we hope for a little bit of improved production on the offensive side of the ball from Walker at first base. Brendan Rodgers at second base. 189 average, 2 home runs, 11 ribbies, 11 runs scored. Not exactly a huge win here with B-Raj. That's why you're seeing, Mauricio Dubon get mixed in at second base. Yeah, you got to hope for better moving forward there for sure in terms of offense. But those are the 3 biggest new faces. 3 guys in our infield. Obviously, Jeremy Pena is still there at shortstop and is absolutely crushing. Didn't really know what to make of Peña. He obviously had the huge 2022. And it's I don't want to call it a disappointment since then, but it's certainly, I don't think Jeremy has met his own expectations or the expectations that we had as fans after seeing what he was able to do during his rookie season, where he won ALCS MVP and World Series MVP like that. It didn't really translate over the next couple seasons, right? But now Peña is batting a team-leading .316 at the plate with a team-leading 79 hits, second in RBIs behind Paredes with 32, highest OPS on the team at 853, tied for the MLB lead in infield hits. He's got that speed. So good to see Jeremy Peña catching stride and now one of the hottest shortstops in baseball. And especially during this stretch where Yordan Alvarez has been out with injury, his offensive production has meant a shitload to this Astros team. Love to see him performing the way he has been of late. Lance McCullers Jr. finally returned to the pitcher's mound for the first time since the 2022 World Series, and after a couple not-so-stellar performances, seems to have settled in with 6 games under his belt. A lot has been said about LMJ and how often he's injured, but the dude is a gamer. This is a true competitor who gives it his all when he's out there. And as an Astros fan, having anything other than the utmost respect for Lance McCullers Jr. is insane. His last start, really over his last 2 starts, that one start when he had 12 Ks, which I think tied his career high in strikeouts for a game, coupled with his more recent start, had me ready to say he was all the way back, looking incredibly sharp, like his old self. But I'm not trying to jinx shit, so I'm going to shut my pretty little mouth. Welcome back, Lance. What a story. What a comeback again. This is a guy that has had to fight back from 2 different surgeries. Keep it rolling, Lance. Yordan Alvarez, been out since May 2nd with what was originally called a muscle strain, and I'm holding my eyes shut to avoid rolling them too hard. Then they did some imaging the week before last that revealed he has a minor fracture in his right hand. Sources said it was 60% healed or some shit. I don't really know, man. Obviously need Yordan back out there, but the way this team handles the media when it comes to injuries has become so fucking annoying that I'm just not going to pay attention anymore. I'm just not going to pay attention. If someone is out for the Astros, they're out until they're not. Fuck it. Because trying to follow injuries through this team's the information that they'll give the media, which is obviously the information that they're giving to us as fans, is so fucking limited and gray and nondescript and annoying that it causes me a ton of discomfort personally. #discomfort. So I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm just not. Yordan is out. He'll be back when he's back. And until then, I don't fucking care. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not going to read about it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to move on with my fucking life until I see him back out on the field, because it's the worst part of being an Astros fan, bar none, over this last 9 years, is the way they handle injury reporting to the media and thus the fans. It's hell. And if you have a guy like, Altuve has gone down a time or two over the past few years, or Alvarez, who's routinely injured, and he's such a big part of the team, you get so hung up on it, and it sucks, and it's just nothing but negativity. And I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to participate. That was it. So he'll be back when he's back. Jose Altuve in left field. Has it worked thus far? Kinda. It's kind of worked. During spring training, seeing him out there was the most bizarre experience that I've had as an Astros fan in the past 9 years. It's so weird to not see him at second base, the little fella. And to see somebody that small standing in left field is jarring, but it's kind of worked. Now, there are still random plays, random moments where occasionally Jose clearly shows his lack of experience in left field and shit gets ugly. And when that happens, it's really ugly. It's like seeing a high school player misread a fly ball or a line drive or a hop. And it kind of kills me a little bit inside, but for the most part, it has worked. It has worked. It makes me extremely uncomfortable and confused seeing him out there, and I'm terrified of him playing left field in the postseason. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I will admit I was a doubter when they announced that this was like a legitimate thing. I kind of took it as a joke at first, like, yeah, okay, he volunteered to move to left field, but like, why the hell would they move him to left field? Then I thought about it some more and saw some of the plays that he's made and remembered some of the errors he's had at second base over the past couple seasons and how he's kind of digressed as an infielder. And it's like, yeah, if you need to do this to make shit work, whatever. Now, it would be a lot better if Brendan Rodgers at second base had panned out more than he has so far, particularly offensively, because he's hitting like shit. But you can't really argue that the Jose Altuve experiment in left field has been a failure so far. So that's where we're at with that. It looks like the Astros will have Hunter Brown, Jeremy Pena, Isaac Paredes, and Josh Hader, and maybe Framber Valdez in the All-Star game. So it could be 5 Astros on the American League All-Star team this season. Starting with Hunter Brown. Man, I've had a lot of people go back and comment on a reel of mine here on YouTube where I said that if Hunter Brown didn't get it together, this was the beginning of the season, I think, maybe beginning of last season, where he had a really tough start, and I was like, if he doesn't get it together soon, they've got to move on. Because the Astros, for a few seasons, have had all this hope tied up in Hunter Brown, that he could, grow into a potential Cy Young candidate and be an ace and learn from JV when he was on our team, Justin Verlander as a mentor. And there was so much talk about that, and then it was such a big letdown when he struggled mightily at the beginning of that season that I got ahead of my skis and I said they needed to move on, and people have been commenting like, you stupid bastard. And I'm like, yeah, well, with hindsight, now it's easy to say I was dead wrong. I was dead wrong. 1.82 ERA in 13 starts, and Hunter Brown has been nothing short of fantastic. He's amazing. He's the anchor of this pitching staff. And you can say that at this point because he has the consistency that Framber Valdez does not. Framber, while amazing and unhittable when at his best, it is impossible to know when he will be at his best. He's the least consistent ace in recent memory on the Astros anyway. And it's frustrating and bizarre, but Framber's 3.07 ERA so far, 13 starts, still among the best in baseball when he's on. He's in the final year of his contract as well, which also makes things weird. It's going to be interesting to see what Dana Brown does at the trade deadline because of that, because Framber is in his final year of his contract. And if you know the Astros front office, they're not going to pay him. And someone else is going to pay him, no doubt. And the odds of the Astros front office getting calls about Framber Valdez at the trade deadline are 110%. There are going to be teams, contenders, that are calling about Framber, and Dana Brown is going to have to take those calls. Because if a team is willing to offer a package that makes it worth it when we're going to lose this guy in the offseason anyway, and we've already been cobbling together our pitching staff for at least 2 straight seasons, pretty much nonstop, then you gotta see what's out there and what you can bring back in exchange for Framber, especially considering the state of our farm system. So Framber is still that dude when he shows up as that dude. But then there are other games where you're like, what the hell is he doing? And he messes with his velocity, and sometimes his stuff is just not there, which happens with pitchers, but it seems to happen with Framber more often than literally anyone I've watched recently. So Hunter Brown is our ace. Framber can still be an ace when he's, mentally locked in, physically locked in, emotionally locked in, sexually locked in. But yeah, Josh Hader, to continue our discussion of our potential all-stars here. Josh Hader took a lot of heat last season, and deservedly so. It's a big contract he signed. And he replaced America's closer, Ryan Presley, who obviously moved on from the Astros. So there was, I'm talking about in the offseason. But he replaced him as our closer even when Presley was still on the team. And it was awkward and it was weird, and he blew too many saves, and there were times where he just didn't even look like the dude he used to be when he was on with the Padres in San Diego or whatever. Hader has been locked in all season long so far. 17 saves in 17 opportunities. Hold on, let me look. That's perfect. Perfection so far. 8 straight innings as of me speaking without allowing a run. Hader has looked like the dude we hoped he would be when we signed him. It's unfortunate that he couldn't be that dude last season, but he's here now and he's doing his thing. You got to love it. You got to love it. Going to see him in an all-star jersey representing the Astros. In terms of other pitching stuff, Hayden Wesneski and Ronel Blanco both out for the season due to elbow surgeries. Bummer. Blanco especially, we all saw what he was capable of last season, and to see him go down is so frustrating. Now, if you're not paying attention to Major League Baseball on the whole and you're just focused on the Astros, it's really, really easy to be like, what the fuck is going on with our pitching staff? Why can't guys stay healthy? How come there's at least one Tommy John surgery every 6 months? What the shit is happening? But if you pay attention to Major League Baseball on the whole, this has become a serious issue. And there are a lot of factors, whether it be, the pitch clock or just the amount of run that guys get, how there's a lot of baseball players that have international obligations in the offseason, so they don't get as much rest. For teams like the Astros, when you're in the postseason every year, you obviously have less rest as well. So this is not really an Astros-specific issue so much as it is a Major League Baseball problem that pitchers cannot stay healthy in this era. It doesn't make it suck any less. I'm just saying there are things to be frustrated about with the Astros in terms of injuries, but it's mostly related to the information they share with the media and thus the fans. I'm not one of y'all psychos online who's going to sit here and yell at the Astros pitching coaches like they're doing something wrong and that's why guys keep getting hurt. Regardless, it has been a pretty much nonstop scramble for 2 straight seasons in terms of filling out a pitching rotation and making sure that we have starters ready, which is why you're constantly seeing the names of dudes that you have never seen before on the starting lineup card as our pitchers, because we're plugging holes in a leaking boat. And it's bizarre, but at the same time, it's working. Like we statistically have had incredible success defensively with our pitching. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It fucking annoys the shit out of me for sure. But like, I just try to park this shit in the back of my mind and watch whoever's out there on the bump and hope that they do well. It just we haven't had the same starting pitching rotation like month to month in fucking forever. It's constant flux, and now they're giving LMJ extra rest between his starts. So I just turn on the game and whoever's out there is fucking out there. So yeah, front office, yet to be determined in terms of like grading them, like and Dana Brown and his performance as our GM so far. But they're cobbling shit together. We're in a solid spot. The trade deadline is July 31st, so about a month and a half for Dana Brown to decide whether he should stand pat or sell Framber Valdez, or we'll see. 3-game series against the White Sox starts tonight at home. And that'll do it for today's show. Remember, every episode of Banging the Can is available to watch on youtube.com/@bangingthecan, and you can listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or the podcast platforms if you are not a big fan of the video for whatever reason. But even if you're not a big fan of the video, go subscribe on youtube.com/@bangingthecan. It helps us out. Support our sponsors. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code BTC to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code BTC. Terms apply. See details. Shout out to Underdog for becoming a new sponsor and bringing our show back. On that note, please share the most unapologetic Houston sports show in existence with your friends and family. Follow us on social media at Banging the Can on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Threads. I think that's it. At Banging the Can. Check out Bolen Media's other programming. If you are an F1 fan, we have a fantastic F1 show, Formula Bone. YouTube.com/@FormulaBone, @FormulaBone on social media, where Jared J-Bone Borislow updates you on the latest in the world of F1, gives you a preview and a recap of every race, provides you with all the information and entertainment and content you need in the F1 space. That's Formula Bone. You can also check out the Ross Bolen podcast for more from me, and I host a TV and film show called Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, where we usually cover TV shows episodically. I think the next one on our docket is The Bear Season 4, dropping later this month in June. I'm Ross Bolen. You could follow me on Twitter and Instagram at WRBOLEN, at WRBolen. And I'll be back soon, maybe next week, if enough of you want it. Hit me in the comments. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. If you're on the podcast platforms, rate, review. Share the show with your people if you've been missing me and you want me to be back more consistently. That's how you get it done. Until next time, H-Town, stay down.